Hello. Right. I had an epiphany. Okay. And I need an answer to a question. Now, we're here, and I've got Mass Effect in the category. Do we do Mass Effect, or do we do the Warhammer 40K Powerwash DLC? Let me switch this on over so you can see my beautiful face. There you go. Wait. Oh, there you go. Actually, you know what? Let's just look at Doge. Depends on how chill you want to be. That's true. I just kind of thought about, like, because I did the Alice in Wonderland DLC, like, the day it came out. And it's on this newer account, and I realized, like, I hadn't actually done any other DLCs on the account, or even the main thing, and I was like, Powerwash? Just, you know, a nice little streams of the DLCs would be quite a cool thing to do. Yeah, we could do that. I wouldn't mind, like, a 40k, you know, like, chat, right? See how that goes. Dude, Powerwash VR must be so much fun. We need good BGM too. What background music should we go for? How was This is gonna put people to sleep. Is this gonna put people to sleep? The ME3 feels so fucking slow compared to the other games. Yeah, I can see that. I can see where, like, Mass Effect 3 shines in its DLCs, which is not something you really necessarily want when you're, like, starting out the game, but, like, the DLCs definitely are, like, by far, like, if you want, like, lore and action and, like, just some badassery and just all that shit, like, the DLCs are where it's at. How's your FF thing been going? And it's just air? It's definitely not as good as 2. Like, that's, I guess, the downside. This is the Land Raider, right? The 1560, nice. Is this the Land Raider? Yeah. And it wants me to do the plaque. I'm assuming this is the plaque. That. Dude, wait, I think you reacted to it, right? Or responded. Oh, did you see the Reddit link I sent you? A lot of fetch quests, killing 3 of mob type combo. Okay, so the thing with FF is, so you have the MSQ quest markers, which are the blue and gold exclamation mark with like the spiky shape around it, right? Then you have like side quests, which are the blue symbol with the gold exclamation mark. And then there'll be like these faded out brownish looking ones with gold exclamation marks that have no blue in them. Those are like purely just like kind of filler stuff. Like you can get like some stuff from it, but like generally speaking, you can like skip them unless you're a completionist like myself who does all of them and just, you know, skips through it. But a lot of those ones, like when I first started playing, and I was told about the quest markers and stuff, like the ones that aren't the quest markers that don't have the blue with the question mark with the exclamation mark are like ignore. Bothers me when there are quests I haven't taken on them. Yeah, and you'll run into the same Ultramarines 2 plaque first. Where's the Ultramarines 2 plaque? Yeah, you'll run into the same issue as me, where I need to restart this then. You'll fill up your quest log, because I think there's like, you can only have 30 at a time. How do I restart a job? There you go. Yeah, like I get like the exclamation mark, the unread notification thing is bothersome, and that's the whole thing of the MMO, right? Is to like try and engage you to do. And I still struggle with not doing them, because I like trying to clear a whole map area before I move on. But generally speaking, as long as you stick to the MSQ, you're not gonna be underleveled, and those like random quests aren't particularly necessary. Achievement! There you go. That was loud. Some metal. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, yes. Blah, yes. Yes. I am Brian Batonde. Sorry. I think the Marauder was a better choice for me, though. Isn't that the one you picked? Or no? Because Marauder will lead you to Warrior. Oh, yes. Oh. Just go down like that. Ouch. I picked it this time. Last time I went Archer because I usually go range sniper, but I don't like the playstyle very much. Yeah, Archer, like... The ranged stuff in FF doesn't feel ranged. Like, it doesn't necessarily feel like you're at a particular advantage by being further away. It was like melee with extra steps. Yeah, it's kind of like it's like how Legolas fights with a bow. You know what I mean? Like, just Bard is fun. But just like off the bat, like being like ranger and stuff, it was kind of like I'm shooting things and like occasionally pressing, I forget the name of the skill, but it's like the image is just like a purple screen with an arrowhead, and you're like, yep, I'm just clicking this every now and then. Like 2, 2, 2, 4, 2, 2. Kind of basic. Obviously, you have all the time in the world. Try anything and everything out. Now I press 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4, 2, 1, 2, 1, 5, 5, 6, 5, 6, 5, 1, 6, 4, 7, 5, 1, 7, 7, 7, 7. I wonder if it's possible to make a meme out of that. I mean, I did it with like Elden Ring, did the 7 meme with Elden Ring. 5 is AoE, never press that. But I bet you could do like an FF's, like the Friends Monica meme. Have you seen people like break down what the numbers meant? Like there's like diagrams of what Monica probably meant with the numbers. Which I think all that does is just shows everyone what your like your own preferences are. I haven't watched Friends. Oh, is a very famous clip of Friends where Chandler is dating a woman and she's like not really being satisfied in bed by him, and Chandler says to like Monica and Rachel, he's like, what am I doing wrong? Like, what I'm doing everything you're supposed to. The PB too small. And she's like, well, are you you know, are you like you know, touching all the erogenous zones, and he's like, yeah, like all 3 of them. She's like, no, there's 7. He's like, there's 7. And she's like, here's how you pleasure a woman. And then she gets out a pen and paper, and she's like, 1, a 2, a 3, a 3, 1, 2, a 2, 4, 5, 4, a 1, 5, 4, 3. Like, she just starts like listening, and then by the end of it, she's like, a 1, 3, a 1, 4, a 2, 5, a 2, 5, 6, a 2, 5, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7. That's basically it. She gets really carried away. There's 7. That's basically like, yeah, that was Chandler's reaction too. He's like, there's 7. And then at the end of the episode, like, Monica and Rachel are just talking about something random, and then like Chandler's girlfriend walks in wearing his shirt, and she like gives Monica a massive hug, and she's like, thank you, and then runs out. And that's the episode. Considering it was like a daytime TV show, I guess it's like, if you compare it to like what can be on TV nowadays, it seems like we've regressed in terms of like stuff that's, I mean, there's definitely things that used to be on TV that are better off not being on TV now, because they were insensitive, I guess. Look, Friends isn't so much, it's cheap laughs, but it's like the best cheap laughs you'll get. Right? Like, it's brain rot TV and cheap laughs. And it has classic moments, like, if you grew up with it, like, you definitely, like, there's parts of Friends that are, like, ingrained into people's, like, personalities almost, you know? Like when Gino and Jeannie were playing like Elden Ring, they'd just start going, oh, I got a 7, 7, 7, 7. You know, like, and even on Twitch, people going 7, 7, 7, 7. We Were on a Break. Probably one of the most famous ones. Sounds like people should get you new personalities. You've never seen it, right? Are you like, I've never seen it, so it sucks? There are these great videos where it's like Ross from Friends without the laughing track is actually a serial killer, because he's got such a like awkward, like borderline embarrassing kind of like personality, where he's like shy but not shy, and I don't know how to explain it, but like you take away the laughing track on it and like he sounds like a serial killer. You can describe a show that will make me want to watch it. I've never had one describe Friends in a way that makes it seem like a good watch. They very deliberately made Jennifer Aniston never wear a bra and always have it quite cold in the studio. How about now? Who's Jennifer Aniston? The one that plays Rachel, she's done like a few movies with Adam Sandler. She never did massive blockbuster movies, I don't think. But also because she was getting paid like stupid money for being on Friends, so she was never like, you know. I don't think she ever felt the need to make it big, you know, like in movies. I mean, she's rolling in it. I think she was. Oh, dude, Impossible Game. Name a Jennifer Aniston movie. Holy shit. I think she was the co-lead in Marley and Me. Although that might have been someone else. I know it was Owen Wilson. It might have been Owen Wilson and Jennifer Aniston. Before she was on Friends and made it big, she was in Leprechaun 2. As like, you know, horror girl trope type character. She did not return for Leprechaun in the Hood or Leprechaun Goes to Space, unfortunately. The true classics of the series. Ba, ba, ba. The moon, she hangs like a cruel portrait. If you're joking about these films. No, those are legit entries in the Leprechaun movie franchise. There's actually I think there's Leprechaun Goes to the Hood 2, if I'm not mistaken, as well. And I am being as serious as I ever been in my life. Leprechaun Goes to Space. I remember he drinks something that, or like there's a weapon that makes him grow super large. He ends up getting too big for the ship. I'm a big horror movie fan, and part of being a horror movie means sometimes you gotta watch the really shit ones. Even Texas Chainsaw Massacre 4, which actually had a pre-famous Matthew McConaughey in it, and he started getting like really big soon after the movie came out. So the creators of Texas Chainsaw Massacre 4 waited to release the movie because they wanted to benefit off of his success. And I think the woman that is in the diary of something Jane. Diary of Jane's a Breaking Benjamin song, I think. Have you seen Velocipasta? I have. And it's terrible. It's good. I love the weird juxtaposition of like sexual desire equaling becoming a dinosaur. That was interesting. Like, the movie Birdemic, that's good. It has Whitney Moore in it, who is a YouTuber. She was a host on SourceFed. She did that movie before moving to YouTube stuff. I went through a phase of watching really shit monster movies with my friend. Dude, it's worth it. Some of them can be good. You know, you come across... Like, people think Puppet Master series is bad, and I think it should be considered a true classic. If you want to, like, get into, like, horror movies, like older horror movies that have like a 50% chance of being funny because they're so bad, or just like hidden gem classics, just watch anything Blumhouse. Is it Blumhouse? Sharktopus. Oh, what was the Sharknado started out like that, but it ended up being the one that kind of like got really popular. So it went like, it had a lot more involvement from like studio heads, and it ended up, instead of being so bad it's good, it just was bad in the end. But I think is it Blumhouse? Or I swear there's a horror studio name called something like, it has Moon in the name. Full Moon, yeah. Full Moon Features. I don't know, Blumhouse. Let me check what Blumhouse is. Blumhouse Productions. Oh, okay, so Blumhouse Productions has made like Five Nights at Freddy's, Megan, Insidious. What else have they made? Yeah, they're a horror movie. Dark Skies, Paranormal Activity, Sinister. Lords of Salem. Some of the Purge movies. Ouija, Lazarus Effect, Unfriended. Like modern day, like the modern day horrors and stuff. But Full Moon Studios. Music's putting you to sleep. Alright, hold on. In a moment. Yeah, Full Moon Studios made like Puppet Master series, Subspecies, Trancers, Killjoy, Demonic Toys, Dr. Morbid, Dragon World, The Dead Hate the Living, Groom Lake, Gingerbread Man, Evil Bong. Like, if you want like kind of classic horrors that no one's heard of, probably. Yeah, Full Moon. It's a female lead singer, by the way. Tatiana from Ginger. And Hellsing's the greatest game of all time, if only for all the free music that they made. Oh. What's your favourite horror movie of all time? Like, just overall. Question for everybody. Hey, Paul. It's a tough one, right? The animated Warhammer 40K movie? That like really good one that one guy did or whatever. At first I thought you were playing Warhammer. Kind of. It's the part of Warhammer you don't often see. The Adeptus Mechanicus cleaning crew. A full-length feature film. Oh, okay. Is that like... I know it's horrifying, but is that horror? My favourite is probably, without like really digging into my brain, I would have to say The Ritual. It's about a group of... wait, no, I take it back. Ritual's a close second. Oh, wait, now I'm thinking of another one. Hey, Phantom. I would say... Jeannie said she watched The Ritual and it scared the fuck out of her. But was also really good. Yeah, so I was gonna say The Ritual, or I was gonna say As Above, So Below. However, I think my favorite horror movie is The Descent. It's about a group of all-female British hikers and cave explorers, excuse me, that go on like a girls' trip out to this place. I can't remember if it's set in America or not, or if it's in England. I think it might be set in England. But they go there to help one of their friends out whose husband died in a car accident like the year before. I don't remember they were British. Yeah, they were all fully English cast. And they go to this cave that, like, the one friend says, hey, we should go to this one cave that's not on any of the maps. Don't worry, I've explored it. They go there and they find a subspecies of human that live in caves and have never evolved into being these like creepy gremlin creatures. The Spiderwick Chronicles? Sorry. Cave drivers running the caves in the forest. Yeah, I can see that. They're like, because they've never been out in the sun. They're like super pale. They're blind. They rely on smell and like, I think echolocation as well. They like screech. Sounds like The Descent. Yeah, it's a sad movie. It's nihilistic, but it's my favorite horror movie. Because I'm also a sucker for, like, nihilism. If you want something to be realistic, just be super nihilistic. Another good one, although I don't really like this film, but I don't classify it as a horror. I think it's a psychological thriller. Would be Possum. Oh, but put it this way, with The Descent, and no one has watched it, I highly recommend it, but they showed the movie to test audiences in England, and they said, yeah, this was brilliant, fantastic, loved it. They showed the test audience, they showed the movie, the test audience in America, and the American audience said that the ending was too sad and depressing, which, I don't know about you, but that is the most juxtaposing English mentality versus American mentality ever, right? Like, America loves the happy ending. It loves, you know, perseverance and struggle and overcoming the odds. England is just that kind of like mentality of, yep, we're fucked, might as well admit it. Like, well, I'm gonna die. I just got the prompt to shoot Ashley and didn't fucking hesitate. Jesus. You know what? Fair play, she's a racist. Ashley's an alien racist. The one friend got royally screwed by her other friends and pissed me off. In the chasm? Like when they're like trying to zip line across? She's just a whiny ass all the time. Well, she's whiny, but also just a racist. Like, in Mass Effect 1, she's like super racist. This is why you save Caden. Yeah, if you can describe the scene, Yo-Way. Because I know there's one friend. Okay. But the one that did that kinda deserves it. For other reasons. Does she not? I get what you're saying, like, they kind of turned on her, like, in such a weird way, like, you're all in this very... Yeah, it was a complete accident. Like, you're all in this very insane scenario where, like, you're dealing with these creatures you've never seen before, and you're all freaking out and you're all scared, and an accident happens, and then they're immediately like, oh, how convenient for you that you accidentally murdered her. You wanted her gone, didn't you? And it's just like, I get the person you're talking to is a mega bitch, okay, but, like, accidents happen in moments of intense stress. The second movie sucks, though. Just FYI. Don't bother with it. Should have never made a sequel. God, this is so finicky. That mentality of knowing when a story is over, like, is what I strive to look for in, like, television and movies, right? Like, so Game of Thrones moved further than the source material, and it exposed the head writers for being really shit writers when they don't have when they don't have pre-existing material to work with. Because they also moved on to write Star Wars, and then that was shit too. But that's a whole other thing. But they, like, once they ran out of source material for Game of Thrones, the show turned to absolute shit. But House of Dragon, even though I've not really watched it, I'm trying to just keep up with it because I tend to not have enough time in the day to watch TV. The only time I have to myself, I prefer to game because I can choose. You know, it's far more interactive than just staring at the screen and watching actors act. Personally, right? You know, that being said, like I adore horror movies and used to collect like all of them and stuff, but I mean dragons, yeah, you know, dragons are great and all, but like what I like about House of Dragon is they've already said it's going to be 4 seasons. The story is already fully written by George R.R. Martin. They know when it's going to end. So there's never going to be that moment of how do we keep this going because it's popular. You know? Like, do you remember... Was it Benedict Cumberbatch was in the Doctor Who miniseries? I have seen Trick or Treat, yeah. That's the one with the little pumpkin head kid monster, right? Just to clarify. Yeah, I've seen that. The first kill is the best part of the movie. Yeah, the Doctor Who? No. The Sherlock Holmes BBC miniseries with Benedict Cumberbatch and Martin Freeman. Bend over, come on a back, yeah. A bendy dick cumbersnatch. Benedict cummy snatch. You have a tradition to watch it every Halloween? Nice. My Halloween tradition movie used to be Jason X, just because it's so like insane, and it's short. Cumber snatches, but yeah, so like that like went in. The director went in with that, knowing full well, okay, here's the story, start to finish. How many episodes is it going to be? Oh, well, it's only going to be 3 episodes. That's all we need. You know? Like, once that 3 episodes was done, they were like, that's it. We don't need to keep it going. And so it was only 3 episodes. And people love it. when you know how something's gonna end and you don't have that pressure of we need to keep writing this show because it's popular, it gives writers and directors the freedom to actually know when shit's gonna end, so they don't have to worry about do I keep this person alive just in case? You know what I mean? That's a solid choice, Kenan. Like the show Vikings, for me, should have ended after season 4, and the original creator of the show even planned to do that, but and had it all written out and ready to be that way, and it was planned and everything. But then, the powers that be said, "What if we gave you a shit ton of money to keep making it?" And while there are some great episodes after that, it's 100% down to the ability of the actors to hold the show. But it definitely, after that, it never felt the same. It always felt like, without spoiling anything, it just always felt like there was something missing from it. And they had the opportunity to end the show with like a really big go out with a bang, like throw the budget at it. But because they were like, okay, we're gonna do more seasons, they like completely skip a massive climactic ending to jump forward, Lord of the Rings is my Christmas movie. I think Lord of the Rings, it's at least once a year you gotta watch it, right? I don't have a specific set time for it. I think it's just when it like grabs me. I'll know it when I'm I'll know when I'm ready to watch it again. It's got elves in it. Sure. You know what? There's a big grey bearded man. There's elves. But I mean, maybe call it like typical, but you gotta go with Die Hard. I mean, I watched the Harry Potter movies for the first time with some of you guys over Discord around the time the Hogwarts game came out, because I had never seen them. I remember I read the Philosopher's Stone when I was a kid. I think it was like it was during a time when it had come out and it was the biggest thing in the world, and then like all the we read it for school. Like the teachers made it part of like do an essay on the Philosopher's Stone. And I remember like we would read it. Sometimes we would read a chapter in class, but the teacher was reading a chapter 2. So I'm pretty sure the teacher just wanted to read the book and was like, hey, guess what? This is a lesson now. But, I mean, Harry Potter is definitely... And I don't mean this in a bad way, because bear in mind, a lot of the Harry Potter movies came out when we were kids or teenagers. But Harry Potter is definitely a teen movie series. Like, it's for teens. It's like when people get mad at you for saying that Mario 64 is a kid's game, and they're like, oh, how dare you? And it's like, you played it when you were a kid. Yeah, Harry Potter is okay. You know, like, I was never, like, super into it. I never really cared much for it. I had plenty of friends that were, like, Harry Potter girls. You know Harry Potter girls, right? Like, how their, like, entire personality is Harry Potter, to some extent. I think I've told this story before, 100%, but, like, I was dating a girl, who ghosted me after getting really upset when I told her I hadn't seen the Harry Potter movies, and she was like, "How could you not have seen them?" I was like, "I just never interested me, but I'm more than happy to watch them." And she was like, "I can't believe this. Like, how can you not?" And she was like super passionate about it, and then like ghosted me afterwards. So yeah, she was just like, I just can't date someone that's never seen Harry Potter. I'm like, you know what? I probably dodged a bullet. Some attack. It's a classic. Some attack British tourists as they ask them which Hogwarts house they're in. Yeah, but that's a British secret. We're not supposed to actually tell you what wizard school we're in. All that we're magic. So you didn't hear it from me. Or MI6 for James Bond. To be honest with you, I'm not even sure MI6 does anything anymore. They probably do, but that, I guess that probably also means they're really, really good spies, because you never hear shit about them, right? If you're not hearing anything about it, then probably means they're doing their job. The worst is when, like, MI5's the one you hear about. What? Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, did I offend you? Take me to Scotland Yard. Alright, here's one. What's everyone's favourite movie, TV show / video game theory? Like how there's a theory that Jason Bourne, theory. There's a theory that Jason Bourne was actually the Americans' attempt at the 007 program, and that the James Bond and Jason Bourne worlds are connected. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, that's the case for a lot of things, isn't it? Ugh. I love that in metal movies. Ugh. Yeah, but 50-year-olds don't, you know, sell tickets, I guess. I don't know. You know what Hollywood's like. They're like, we need to get the hot guy. What's a theory that you, like, subscribe to? Jinx was a spin-off attempt of the American counterpart to James Bond. Jinx? I mean, I guess it probably, I guess it didn't work, because I've never heard, like, the only Jinx I know is the League of Legends thing. And that streamer. I've not seen her pop up in a while, though. I don't know if she still streams or not. But Irish less. Halle Berry in Die Another Day. Oh, right. I mean, wasn't she just a Bond girl? They tried to do a spin-off with that. She got drunk. She got cancelled for being a drunk, mentally ill asshole. I mean, is. I mean, I won't pass judgment because I don't know the whole thing, but I mean, like, struggling with mental health and alcohol, like, you know, I mean, I've been there, right? Like, she's an agent in the movie. I think I watched the movie once, and the only thing I remember is the really bad CGI in the paragliding scene. You didn't start saying people were pedos, though? No, I did not. Well, I mean... yeah, I don't know. Like, I can sympathize with the struggle. I don't know how she acted publicly or anything like that, and obviously... it's a grey area, right? Because it's like, on the one hand, you can understand why someone's acting and behaving a certain way, but on the other hand, you also don't necessarily owe them anything, nor do you have to, nor do you owe, like, you don't owe them your patience or forgiveness, you know. So I get that. Better off being on the internet, off the internet and getting help. Yeah, oh, 100%. Yeah, like, I mean, staying in, like, the streamer sphere, if you're struggling with, like, alcohol and, like, mental health problems, yeah, get off the internet, get off social media. Social media is poison. Like, it's completely crippled an entire generation's ability to have compassion, really. It's made everyone judgmental assholes. This is why, like, yes, I stream. Yes, it would be awesome if I, like, blew up in popularity and I could do this, you know, all the time. But and having social media presence would help that, but like I just can't. I don't like social media is poisonous. You can't detach the human. You can't take out the human in humanity. Social media does that. Like, just the simple knowledge of knowing what like some people say to people online because of like stupid basic reasons, like they didn't like the character, like Jack Gleason from Game of Thrones playing Joffrey getting like literal death threats and like horrible like things said to him. Like it's so insane that like the majority of the people saying shit to him that said that shit to him online would be so happy to meet him in real life and would treat him with respect. But social media has disconnected the human connection between people, that like someone can just decide that they view the actor as the character and be like, I'm just gonna vent my frustrations to this character, like they're not real, you know. And I did have social media because friends would like try to convince me to get it and stuff, because I was very hard to get hold of. I didn't have a smartphone until like 2022. I was like, if you don't want to call me, then whatever you want to say to me isn't important enough, right? Like, if you're not calling me, then it's not important. But I got a Twitter and a Facebook. Barely touched the Facebook, and the Twitter, I found myself like just scrolling through it aimlessly, and I was like, I had a moment where I was like, what am I doing? Like I specifically remember like I was getting into the shower, right, and like I was holding my phone and just hitting the refresh button on Twitter to see if anyone had said anything new. And I'm like, man, I'm standing in front of the shower. I haven't gotten in it in 5 minutes because I've been staring at my phone, refreshing it, looking to see if anyone I follow has said anything. Like, what the fuck am I doing? And then I just like stopped using it. I have an Instagram that I just, whenever I take a picture of something, like if I'm outside and I see something really cool and I want to take a picture of it because I think it will make for a nice photo, like I put it on Instagram. But I haven't done that in like a few years. I think the last picture I took was like more than 2 years ago. I had Facebook until I separated from my ex. I deleted my account because I was doom scrolling all the time. Yeah, I guess that's what it is, right? You just like, you're looking for something to give you a quick feeling, just something that's gonna make you smile for half a second, and you're scrolling through and you're like waiting for that like brief bit of like serotonin, and then you end up like living vicariously through other people's happiness. Like, you're happy because these strangers that you follow online said that they're happy, and you're like, it's not healthy, man. Like, it's Like if you're like, I mean, I'm definitely someone that derives happiness from the happiness of others. In that, like, in the same sense of like, if someone, you know, is like, oh man, I really want this new game, but I just don't have the money for it. And I can see that having that game would make them really happy. Like, I want to get the game for them, even if I don't know them, like, in real life. I'm like, dude, let me get it for you. And they're like, no, I don't want, like, charity, like, I don't, you know. But to me, I'm like, dude, just the idea of knowing that you're playing the game that's making you happy, I'm like, it's just like, I like that, you know. I was talking to Izo about it, and she said she's the same, you know, like, it's like, I'm good in life with, like, things that I have, right? I don't derive happiness from things that much, but if I can, like, if I can do something that just makes someone's day better, like, I want to do that. Like, I've offered people on, like, Genie's Discord, I've offered to buy them, like, laptops. Because they're like, oh, my laptop's really shit, like, I can barely do anything. I'm like, dude, just let me get you one. I did that, like, early on with Phil, when... Maybe I shouldn't say names, but, I mean, I said Phil now, but, like, you know, he was very grateful, but, like, you know, declined, because it's a good thing to not just accept, like, expensive gifts from people, I suppose, but, like, but, like, you know, where Phil said he, you know, all of his plans for streaming and, like, you know, like the ideas of branding and all that stuff, and I was like, let me get you a laptop. Like, seriously, you could stream Xbox off a laptop that's like 200 quid. I was like, let me just, like, buy you one. And you know, he said no. But I can't remember if it was a birthday present or if I just, like, oh, I twisted his arm a little bit. So his profile picture on like Twitch, unless he's changed it, is an art commission I paid for him. But I was like, dude, what if I told you I'm gonna do this anyway? It would just be better if you told me what you wanted. And he was like, fine. I don't do it online, but I volunteered to do stuff in person. I used to do that a lot in person too, but the IRL stuff here is just like voluntary work in, like, did you just auto stop Surge Tankian YouTube? How dare you? It's like a bookshop that all the proceeds go to the church, and, like, I saw, like, I remember I did like a couple days, and then they were like, oh, I'll I guess you could, like, organize the travel section of books. And I was like, okay. And then I saw behind the shelf a ton of books that had, like, fallen behind the bookshelf. There was like 20 something books crammed up against the wall. And I was like, there's a ton of books back here. And I was like, can I get them out to, you know, can I move the bookshelf and get them out and stuff? And they were like, nah. We got nowhere to put them. And so like when I'm like off, when I'm volunteering to help and I want to like go the quote unquote extra step of like organizing some shit that they didn't know it was even there, and they're like, I'm like, well, if you can't be fucked, then why should I? You know, I'm not being paid to give a fuck. I'm trying to give a fuck out of my own time. But if you can't give a fuck, then like, why should I give a fuck? I would rather, like, you know, volunteer my time to people that want to better things, or like actually are motivated to see the thing that they're doing succeed. But if I pull out a shit ton of books, I'm like, yo, these books were here the whole time. We should get them all out and put them on the shelf. And they're like, I'm like, well, what am I doing here then? Like, and it don't help that like any of the charity shops, or I guess you'd call them like Goodwill stores, like are like run by like old ladies here that, you know, when there's like a younger guy who's offering to help, they see that as a chance to just stop doing anything and then just like make tea and coffee and chat while you do the work. And I'm like, I'm here because you need help, not so I can do your job. Like, you're getting paid. I'm not. Yeah, thrift stores, right? Goodwill's a specific, like, company, right? Never know. Salvation Army, yeah. What's the best thing you ever found at one of those places? I've never really gotten particularly lucky at one of those places. I've also never really gone out of my way to like look, right? But I guess I found a pop figure. No, actually, do you know what the best one was? I saw in the window next to a bunch of music sheets a replica ocarina. And I was like, I went in and I said, could I have a look at the ocarina that you've got in the window? And they were like, the what? I said, like, it's the thing in the window over there. They were like, oh, I didn't know it's called that. I've never heard of that instrument before. And I was like, how much is it? And they were like, £2. And I was like, sure. And I went home to see how much it was worth online, and it was worth £60 online. So you know I sold that motherfucker. A dresser filled with old coins. That's cool. Oh, that's a mystery as well. Dad found my first Warhammer minis from the Salvation Army. Like, as in the first ones you painted, or they were your ones that you had previously given away? I bought I don't know what it's called. That's specifically like the type of desk it's called. It's like a secretary desk where I guess it's two-sided.
Hello.
Hey, Paul!
Just subscribe.
Thank you for 15 months. Oops. Thanks so much for 15 months. Appreciate it. Yeah, what are those desks called that, like, they're double-sided? So it's like two desks, the backs stuck together, where, like, someone can sit on either side. Like, it was a double desk. And it had, like, a super, super thin place to put your, like, legs. And I remember, like, my family, like, my mum was like, maybe it's one of those, like, old 60s secretary desks, you know, where, like, the businessman would have, like, two female secretaries sitting at a desk typing away on a typewriter or whatever. Is this powdered floss simulator? Powdered floss? What? Powerwash. But yeah, whatever it's called, that I found in the drawer of that the previous owner's like budget book, and it went back to like 1962, and it would be like 1962 Gentleman's Club, beer 20 pence, club entry £1.50. Like he was written down like all of his spendings in it, and I just like sat down. I just took the time to sit down and just like read through this person's like, you know, like sort of life of like kind of interesting. It was almost entirely like, it wasn't particularly exciting though. It was almost entirely just him going to the gentleman's club and buying a beer. Like it wasn't like that exciting. Old computer parts and stuff. I always wonder if it would be like worth just buying like shitty old computers. I don't think charity shops here take computers, if I'm being honest, because they can't, like, generally speaking, they don't have like the facilities to check the computer. And nor the expertise, I guess. In the most looking for cool eye candy, in the least looking for loot and parts. Yeah, it's like one man's trash, right? I do dream of like going to a charity shop and finding like some like hidden little treasure. One of the charity shops in my like town has like a ton of these like old Matchbox cars, and I often wonder if like any of them are worth anything. You know, the old ones were just like 1920s milk truck, and it's just like a little like car. It's like a metal car on like a stand or whatever. They used to raw aluminium. Ah, I saw someone that like collected the gold strips. Aluminium, how dare you? Aluminium. I saw someone on YouTube, they took apart computers or whatever, old computers, and I think it was the ram sticks have like a gold strip in them or something. And yeah, and like once he got like a whole bucket of them, and it was tons. It was like probably like 1,000, whatever. It melted them down and like purified, drew out the gold in them because there was like gold and like other material in it or whatever, and then like smelted it into a gold bar and then like sold the gold bar. Monium. What's that joke? It's like a British person like first time in America. It's like, here, did you know over here in America they call the rooty tooty point and shooty a gun? What a silly name. Magnesium beryllium. My only problem is I wouldn't know how to like safely extract that shit, because I know like in the video with the gold strips in the ram sticks, he specified that at one point in the process it's like incredibly toxic and like not safe. So like you need to know what you're doing. Who knew like melting metal down to a liquid form would be, you know, dangerous. Yeah, I still like don't want to go anywhere near a 3D printer. Ever since I heard that story about a girl, she was like 14 or whatever, and she was she got a 3D printer and was 3D printing jewelry to sell on like Etsy or whatever. She might have been 17. But she was just printing. It was one of the like early days of the 3D printers. And so she was 3D printing jewelry just in her room, just like a small box room, and she ended up like dying from the toxic fumes and shit. Because she didn't like ventilate the room, she wasn't wearing like, you know, mouth protection. She would just put it on at night to like print whatever she was printing, and then just sleep in the same room as the 3D printer. It was like before they like changed up how 3D printers are made or something. In a track armor. There you are. Oh, cheap. Wow, 0.30% did this DLC. That's why you can't burn plastic. The vaporization point is below the flash point, so when you burn plastic, a lot of it just turns to gas. Yeah. Wasn't that a thing as well? They realized with hey, a dreadnought. They realized like Viking houses. Probably like a lot of Vikings probably suffered with carbon monoxide poisoning or whatever, because the way the Viking houses were made is they would have the big fire pit in the center of their house, and they would have it going all day because, you know, obviously it's cold over there and whatever. Oh, dude, Etsy takes forever, man. Depends on where it is, but like they're like, oh, I'm working on other orders. Yeah, so like they would have the fire going in the center of their house the whole day. All the smoke is going up into the roof, and so they did have the holes cut out in the middle of the house. In the roofs, they'd have a hole in the top to let the smoke out, but a ton of it wouldn't escape out of the house. So all this smoke from the fire would like rise up and just stick to the top of the ceiling. And of course, come nighttime, they'd be sleeping, and all that smoke, all that like gas from the fire would just slowly drop back down into their level, and they'd start breathing all that shit in. And so they were like, probably a ton of people in the Viking days had severe breathing problems because they didn't really understand, like, you know, the science of like how that shit worked. They got sent 3 weeks ago. Have you got the information of who the courier is? Are you able to like track it on the courier website? Completely clean the Redemptor Dreadnought using only the yellow nozzle. Oh shit. Okay. You got the tracking number. Do you have the you have the place in which to track it from? Dude, I'm cleaning your toes. Oh, it's just raw mail. Oh, no wonder it's taking so bloody long. Good luck getting that back. Holy shit. I remember a friend of mine lives near a Royal Mail distribution center. Like, it was at the end of his road. Like, he could see it from his house, right? And there was a package of his that he was waiting for that had been in the distribution center for like nearly a month. I think it was like 2 weeks, actually. And he contacted them and was like, when is this going to get sent out? Because it is right there. Like, it's so close to my house right now. And they were like, well, you'll get it when we get to it, right? And he was literally like, can I go down there and just ask for it? I can pick it up myself. I am like a minute walk away. I can pick it up. And they were like, no, you cannot. We have to deliver it to you. It's like, dude, I'll bring the information. Just let me have my package. And they're like, no. I've asked them what the crack is, and they also don't know. So I'm going to give them a few more days and get a refund. Yeah, I mean, once it's left... I mean, if Royal Mail has it, like, it's just a case of Royal Mail getting around to it. The Royal Mail was terrible. That's sort of... it's one, yeah, it's just like, dude, I could come down there right now and just be like, hey, here's my number, can I have this package, please? And they're like, no, we must deliver it to you. And I don't know for a fact, but guaranteed, like, his wasn't the first on the list, his was the last. You know? Maybe they're terrible in England, but too good. Oh, dude, we've got no faith in the Royal Mail. Like, they just do not care. Two days after, what was it? Have you started that? On chapter 24. What do you think so far? You can't wait for your stuff. I'm super curious what you think. You don't need to like, I mean, if you don't, it's good, right? It's such a good story. I'm afraid to say anything because I don't remember what happens on like exact chapter numbers and shit. But like, yeah, anyone that hasn't read the Saga comics, like, do yourself a favor, read them. Do it now. Always wash your balls. I already have shipping issues unless it has to go through customs. The worst shipping issues I ever had is usually when it gets to England. I've never had issues of it like leaving another country. Except that one time I ordered a replica of Anduril, Aragon's sword. It was an unofficial replica that said it was Damascus. And if there's a Damascus sword online that seems like it's too cheap to be good to be true, it's probably because it's not true Damascus. It's just really cheap metal from. Wait, Jimmy Kiba taught me this. It just ends up being like cheap scrap metal from, I think, I could be wrong, but I think Iraq, where they like over there like they make a ton of like stuff out of this super cheap like alloy metals that like looks like Damascus, but it's not really Damascus. It's not proper Damascus steel, right? And I didn't know this, so I was ordering the sword from a guy in England, right? And when I saw that it was in Iraq, I was like, I contacted him and I was like, hey dude, I have a question. Why is my order like in Iraq? Because I'm also in England, so I'm just trying to figure out why it's gone overseas. And he was like, okay, so full complete like, you know, complete openness. He's like, I get the orders and then I order them from another country. And then they send it to me and then I send it to you. And I'm like, okay, fair enough. And I was just like, so taken aback by the like. It's like, so you're just a middleman, you know, like you're just a middleman. A lot of people use stainless steel or similar mixes. Stainless steel is cheaper because it has a. I just heard that they have a ton. There's a ton of scrap metal over there, and so whenever someone is selling like cheap Damascus weaponry, it's generally because it's from like distributors over there that like just mix cheap shit scrap metal, and it's not good quality. And I knew it wasn't gonna be good quality. It was like a replica. When you see like replica of Anduril, £150, Damascus steel, I mean, I knew it wasn't going to be good, right? Like, I knew what I was getting wasn't going to be like amazing looking. But I just wanted it was like a tester of like, do I want to buy weaponry off of Etsy? like, not weaponry. It sounds worse than it. I mean, you know, I don't want to buy like replica like weaponry. And only stock you wait for an order and then buy it, and then ship it to them, and then they get it to yeah. Like they like apparently also don't make it. Like they don't make it until he's ordered it from them, and then they make it, and then they send it to him, and then he's like, all right, I'm gonna send it to you now. So I'm like, I'm just paying. Like, dude, I know this goes against your business, but just tell me where to get it from them. He's like, oh, I'm not gonna tell you that. That's my supplier. But you know, I mean, that's how the conversation would go, but. A lot of that drove me away from eBay. Only thing I've ever done on eBay is I've never bid on eBay, and I've always done buy now. Because I can't be fucked with like individual sellers as well. But eBay has become a place for companies to sell on. Like legit like tech companies will have eBay pages. Like they will start up these like smaller mini companies that are just like, it's the wrong word to use, but like they're like, shit, I switched the spray. I forgot about the achievement and switched sprays. Yeah, eBay when it first started was a like I remember like there were so many scams that would happen, and like there was even it probably happened like a ton. But I remember in England there was a guy who was buying a car off of eBay, and the guys were like, it was back when like eBay was like you can go to the person and you can give them cash. And so he was like, yeah, okay, I'll take this cash and I'll go to this person's house and buy their car. And they were like, oh, hey, can you meet us at the you know, row of garages, because that's where the car is. And can you meet us at 10:30 at night? And shocker of shockers, they proceeded to kill him and steal his money. And then they were very quickly caught. That is super shady, but like it was like a new thing that people thought like, and the problem with stuff like that is that people, you know, people are a lot more like savvy about it now, right? But like back in the day, it was like, oh, this is a website where you can buy things. Why would it be criminal? And people didn't think like bad stuff could happen, I guess. Legit people don't go out of their way to make it perfect for that reputation. Did go out of their way to make it perfect. Yeah. But now it's like way more secure, and you know, I've bought things off eBay before, like when I wanted to rebuy my favorite childhood toys as like display pieces for my shelf. I used eBay. Because the toys that I wanted are like no longer in, you know, production, and so I had to like. And one of the toys I got, I wanted to get it boxed, but I couldn't find a boxed version of it, and someone was selling like a box of toys, but also selling them individually, and so I bought that, and it was also missing the attachable tail, which I knew before I bought it, but I'm like, man, these used to look for Transformers a lot on eBay. I think Con and like Necro are doing that at the moment. Like they're like trying to buy up, well, or not. They've been discussing buying like Transformers and stuff. Always wanted to add more to the collection. There's still time. My only issue for like collecting stuff is because I am a collector at heart. Is just space. Like all my video game figurines, statues from limited editions that I'd get are all up in the like attic. Because I just don't have space to display them. And like, it's a shame because I don't really particularly have aspirations to buy a new one for it. But like, I collected all of the Assassin's Creed Collector's Edition statues for the games. The one that I bought for Black Flag, I had it on a windowsill during the summer. And that particular statue from Black Flag is the main character sliding down a rope on the mast of the ship. And the mast warped in the heat and like bent almost like to a curve. And so now it can't like stand up on its own and stuff like that. And the one I got for Unity, Assassin's Creed Unity, he had a very thin like French sword that he was like holding outwards in like a sort of charge, you know, Fantastic Crusade stance. And it was very long and very thin. And I won't tell you what I was doing at the time with someone, but we accidentally kicked it. And it fell on the floor. And that broke. I also used to have a statue of a skull that was wearing the helmet of one of the like the Imperial Guards from you know the guards in Lord of the Rings Return of the King that were guarding the tree. They had like the big feathered heads, like feather like winged hussar looking like feather crests on their helmets, making out related collectible damage. It might have been a bit more than making out, but yeah, you're on the right path. Guards of the Fountain Court. Yeah, it was a skull with wearing one of their helmets with a dragon wrapped around the helmet. And a friend of mine was like messing around playing with the Xbox 360 Kinect, and they like smacked to the side of my bookshelf and it like fell off and like broke. And they felt super bad. But I was like, don't worry. It's, you know, you're not. This accident happens. But I was like low-key kind of pissed. I was like, you motherfucker. Scary? Not scary. Here we go. Came home from high school and my mum had her friends' kids run rampant in my room, touching, breaking, getting everything dirty. Dude, parents that let like little kids run around and play with like the shit that you very clearly got like on a display case are like, there's not like, oh, I thought it was just toys. It's like, no, you're just ignorant because they got like display cases of like vases or like little porcelain fucking like miniature porcelain animals and shit like that, or like whatever, like, you know, a tea set and shit like that that they put on shelves and in cabinets and whatever. And it's like, it's the same concept. Why are you letting a bunch of kids play with this thing? It's like a collector's item. No, it's toys. You should let them play with your toys. They're not toys. They're not toys. And now my limited edition Witcher 3 statue has Cheeto dust on it. So I'll clean it for you. You are not touching it. Back off. But I've never really had that particular issue, because I just make it very apparent that I don't like people near my stuff or near me. So like if like my nieces and nephews are over and they're like running around, and if they get like, I'll be in my room and I'll just hear someone go, "Stay away from Uncle's room. Don't go down there." They're like, "Don't go down there. He's gonna get annoyed at you." I'm also really funny with, it's a neurological thing, but I'm like funny about loud noises that are outside of my control. That like really aggravates me. Like if someone a couple houses down is like mowing their lawn, I'm like, I'm just in a bad mood. Or like, oh dude, like when my sister decides she wants to like DIY in her room, and she just pulls out the electric drill and just starts going without any warning to me. I'm like, I'm about to fucking do something in Minecraft. Yeah, I mean, like, don't get me wrong. I'm like, it's like when I'm in control of the sound, I'm much more relaxed because I'm making the sound. I know when it's gonna happen, but when it's something outside of my control, I'm like, you know. Yay, we did level 2. Now the tank. Right, let's not miss this achievement. Fuck me, there's so many. Imperial Knight Paladin job. Complete the tilt shield and tilt shield purity seals first. In the Rogel Dawn battle tank job, complete the stowed shovel. I think that's the. Still don't own any tanks. I've painted one. One of the like the standard like the blue ones, yeah. I didn't fully paint it. It wasn't mine. But, dude, yeah, no, that person... I'd like... Oh, good night, Pub. Rest up. Rest well. Yeah, no, 5 AM and you're chainsawing some shit, like... Yeah, no, you're catching hands. Like, in what universe would you think that's a good idea? You know what I mean? Going back to the video game and like TV movie theories, I don't care if the creator himself said it's not connected. I'll be damned if all the Soulsborne games aren't connected. Like even the Elden Ring endings, the different Elden Ring endings act as like prerequisites to the different series of games. I think Miyazaki is a very, very intelligent writer and a very, very deep thinker. And he knows what he likes, and so there's crossover in a lot of instances. Like he'll introduce a particular character that seems not particularly fit in the universe that the game is set in. But, you know, realistically it's more that's the case because it's more of a factor of just that's where his mind is at the time, you know? Like that's the kind of thing he's thinking about. You know, he's thinking about the next story and it bleeds into other stuff. But like the idea that like Dark Souls, Bloodborne, Sekiro, Elden Ring, Demon Souls are all connected, like I'm happy with that. Like I that's my headcanon. Like I want to believe that. There's perfectly good actual reasons as to why. People go, yes, reaching, you're not, that doesn't make sense. It's like, just fucking, if you need 2-hour Vati Vidya video to explain the main story to the game that you're playing, don't come at me saying that my theory doesn't make sense because it's reaching. Like, let's calm down here a bit, okay? Yeah, I mean, Miyazaki, is one of a few people alive today that I'm aware of that I consider to be an artistic genius. And just one of those like genius troubled minds, you know. We actually talked about this not that long ago. Like, Hidetaka Miyazaki, I forget his name, but the creator of Silent Hill, him, and the lead writer and keyboard player for Nightwish, Tuomas Holopainen, are like the three people that I'm like, those people, like, I want to like just pick their brain apart and observe the wondrous horror that is inside. I'm hiding right here. I'm in your mind, dog. There are some anime books and music authors whom I believe are to be more inventive. I mean, yeah, like I said, it's entirely subjective opinion based on my knowledge of people that exist. Right? Like if I'm not aware of someone's existence, I can't rightly consider them that because I don't know who the fuck they are. Has anyone seen the... I think it's called the Tomorrow World? Or Tomorrow Humans? Or something like that. It's the idea that humanity completely, like, devolved and then, like, split into different, like, groups and then, like, evolved independently of itself. It's like a body horror. This is like a world-building body horror concept. Let me see if I can find it. All Tomorrows, it's called.
Year Chronic.
This is a 40-minute, like, explanation of them. Humans are just orcs confirmed. Yes. Here you go. This is all Tomorrows. He explains it very, very well in the video, and he's not the creator. He's just talking about it. But yeah, is this idea that humanity started devolving after a cataclysm, I think, and then different pockets of humanity started to evolve over millions of years independently of one another, and it's just like, it's just such a cool, weird body horror idea, and like whenever someone could draw like a truly scary, horrifying monster and be like, oh my god, that's terrifying, it's grotesque, and be like frightened by it, be like, you know, like the old adage of being like, what goes on in someone's head that like they come up with that? And I'm like, yeah, like I want to know, like, you mean someone that has the ability to think completely outside of the box, to have an idea of something that is so out of this world that it creeps you out? Like, yeah, fuck, I want to know what's going on in their head. Like, but if anyone's ever interested in world building, because I love world building, have a look at that video and or just like look into All Tomorrows yourself. But that video is a good place to start. It's very, very interesting. It's like a forgotten history of like they evolved not remembering their origin, and like enslave others. They don't they don't get their like sapiency back. And my only regret for this D&D game I'm doing is that I didn't make the world. I mean, it's the first run, right? There's always more times. You would like the Lights Out radio series. You're reminding me of their early horror. The oldest book I read was Rick Stout, the guy who made up Necrowolf. I've heard of Necrowolf. I don't remember what it is. Once Human? Not Once Human. Maybe a bit later, but not on stream. Not today, anyway. I'll be at work later. You could just not be. About that. Don't work, play video games instead. Did that 2 weeks ago, I'm still fighting to be paid. Oh, they're still giving you shit. Lights Out had a creature which couldn't notice you until you noticed it first, and then would lock onto you and rip you apart while remaining invisible to everyone but that one person. That reminds me of that one SCP, the shy guy SCP. Does anyone know which one I'm talking about? It's this like very tall, gangly, malnourished looking ghoulish type person who just constantly is curled up in a corner crying, and if anyone looks at it directly or indirectly or even looks at an image of its face, it like hones in on that person and will just like sprint endlessly at that person until it can tear them to shreds. And then if no one else has looked at its face, then it just sort of goes back to its sort of docile state. It looks at... If you look at it, it kills you. Yeah, that was... I mean, the very first SCP was like that as well, right? Like, it was just, it was like the statue made out of concrete that had graffiti on it and rebar sticking out of it. And if you... It had to have someone looking at it all the time, and if you blinked, it, like, moved. And I remember people were saying that, like, the Doctor Who Weeping Angels copied the SCP thing. But it's also not, like, necessarily like an original idea, you know? Something that every time you blink it gets closer to you. That's just cats. You know? Cats do that. Face thing reminds me of the Ghost in the Shell because of one hacker has hacked the system's recognition software, so no one has to with implants can recognize his face. They did that in is Watch Dogs and Cyberpunk, right? Is like if on CCTV they just like look blurred or whatever. Which still confuses me because I feel like if for a system to automatically blur your face whenever it sees it, it would have to know. It would still have to know what you look like on the system to recognize that it needs to pixelate it. You know what I mean? It doesn't do it if you look at a painting though, but it's photo does. Oh, is it not? Oh, because a painting's not like a one-to-one exact depiction, right? It's like an artist is not going to draw it exactly the same way as it actually looks. There you go. So the artist's mind would become the target? Well, that's the thing, right? Like, if it's a painting, it's got to be based off a description given to him by someone else who is going to die soon. Right?
Once the spirit is broken and enough pain is
So it's not going to be completely accurate. Because if for the artist to be painting the creature based off memory, he would have to have seen it himself, which means that the artist is a target. So unless like they got an artist, showed him an image on the other side of the world, and was like, right, you've got X amount of time to paint what you just saw before this motherfucker comes and kills you. You wouldn't get me to agree to that. Although SCP, the way they work, they don't tend to have willing participants. That's basically what they did. They put him under the water, but did tell him he was going to die. Yeah, it sounds about right. Because if I remember, like, it doesn't matter if it's water or there's an object. Like, the thing will just keep running, right? Like, there's one story about it where it like, literally just runs, like, through a mountain or some shit. Like, it runs really, really, really fast and, like, it just blasts through surfaces. Like, there's literally nothing that can stop it. You looked at a picture of space from space. Well, that would okay. So like, it's like, does it breathe? Does it have lungs? You know, and if it can't breathe in space, then surely disabling the lungs in some way would also do it. So, can we just shoot it in the lungs to sort, you know what I mean, like how it would get out of the atmosphere? Oh, like how would it actually just get up there? Good question. This is the sort of thing you Can't be asking, man. Alright, I've got a question. Has anyone ever come up with their own idea for an SCP? I had one. It's way too like horror, I think, to be like an actual SCP. But it's my balls. Oh shit, your balls are an SCP. This SCP requires attractive Swedish female D-class personnel. SCP. C for Charlie. It's an online forum of stories about anomalous things, creatures, entities. There could be anything from dragons in a toy box, a ghoulish creature that will stop at nothing to kill you for looking at its face, a toaster that when you toast something, it teleports you to another dimension. You know, random, like, it's just like Dragon D's nuts. Fucking got him. No one has ever seen them and lived. But you think. Mysterious dangly parts. Ooh. I had an idea for an SCP, but it ended up becoming more of just like a horror movie concept. My idea was, it was in France, modern day, right? So 2024 France, right? We can imagine things aren't on fire for a second. And usually at a dockyard or a storage facility place, usually still within the vicinity of water, there would be a old wooden barrel that you could hear screaming and like knocking noises from. Like, it would sound like a woman in distress trying to get out of this barrel, right? And anyone that is unfortunate enough to check and open the barrel would find there to be nothing in it, but then be pulled into the barrel, and then the barrel like closes shut, right? And then the barrel just disappears and moves location to another place in France. But to add to the more of the world building side of the barrel, this anomalous barrel, there would be a known story around France, and to anyone that goes online and is interested in like unsolved mysteries, you know, top 10 unsolved mysteries in France or whatever, right? Like, you would have heard of the story of, you know, insert French woman name, a woman who was kidnapped off the streets of France, and was believed to have been like stuffed into a barrel and drowned. And her body wasn't recovered until like way too late. when it was found, like, on a shore. Right? Something like that. So, in our world, there is the historically true story of a woman who was kidnapped, tortured, and thrown in a barrel, and then drowned by being tossed into the sea off of the docks. But the anomalous property of it, despite the fact that the barrel sucks people in and, you know, makes noises of a screaming woman, is every time the barrel claims a victim, in our world, the historical understanding and memory and proof of who the woman in the barrel was changes to whoever the last victim was. Like, the name changes and the story changes. But the one constant is, even if it's a man that opens the barrel and gets sucked in, and then the story changes to, like, John Smith from the 17th century, the next time the barrel is located, it still sounds of, like, a crying woman. That's what I came up with one time. I don't know if it's good, but I ended up imagining, like, this whole plot of a movie based around it, and you know, I got distracted. Now I get into PC games. We've got 10 minutes. There's a sequence of notes and a colour which cause the SCP to become aware of a target who knows its name. The SCP will place the human with a copy, means unknown, when he falls asleep. On being faced with his fakeness, the target will burst into flames and explode. So, besides the burst into flames and explode part, that's already an SCP. But it's a very cool SCP, and it's very cool for you to imagine that as well. In the SCP universe, and by the way, the SCP universe has no canon, because the idea is you pick and choose what SCP entries you want to exist in your own SCP world, because there's tons that would contradict each other. There's tons of SCPs that, if they were in the same world, would completely contradict each other, and there's multiple versions of the same SCP, so obviously you can only have one. If you know, so if you want continuity, you build your own continuity. There is no set continuity, but what you're kind of describing, I believe, is the SCP's version of the Fae creatures. And what the Fae would do is, they were seemingly completely harmless and look like other humans, but they would try to learn your name. And once they learned your name, they would just become you, and you would be the not real you anymore, except to yourself. So they would just replace you, and you would be considered like the imposter to everyone else. But you know in your mind the truth, but it's not really, like, believed by anyone else. And I think, like, you can go mad if you see the Fae that took your like identity. There's also a whole sub-story in the SCP universe of Fae, the Fae versus Bigfoot war. Like, Bigfoot is an SCP. It exists. And at one point, the Bigfoot species were far more advanced than humans and actually enslaved humans to do their manual labor. But humans revolted against the Bigfoot, and they ended up the humans ended up conquering Bigfoot And the Bigfoot escaped into like the forests, and as a result, they started to devolve into their more ape-like instincts. And although they're still intelligent, they're not nearly as numerous or intelligent as they once used to be. But there was a whole thing about them having a war with the Fae, and there was a story that kind of also implied that the Fae created some form of genophage for the Bigfoot that wiped a bunch of them out as well. It's like it's a whole thing. There's a YouTube channel called The Exploring Series that I watch for all like the SCP stuff, because he's good at narrating SCP stuff. So if you ever just want to hear the stories narrated by someone as opposed to looking it up yourself, because the way SCP stories are structured is they are structured like science files. It will be like SCP-103 containment protocol redacted, entered facility redacted, like it will be like stuff, it will be like that, and then like people can write actual stories around it. There's a really cool, like, heartwarming story. I think it's called Here Be Dragons. Where this kid finds, like, a box in his attic. And inside it are these, like, origami paper dragons. But the dragons come to life and they're like, our world's in danger, we need you to help us. And then like every time they come back they're like weaker, and like there's a war going on inside this box, and it's like actually like kind of a sad story. There's a lot of shit there if you want to, like, you could. I've spent hours just like looking into like SCP stuff. Very fun. Hey, Val. Cleaning a tank. Ankle was on the bed with redacted, and they were redacted when the ancient lost treasure was damaged. You know what? That is actually about as accurate as I would tell the story. That's all you need to know. It's on the wiki? Oh god. Now, I'm not one for spreading misinformation on Wikipedia. And I do not condone anyone that does it. But wouldn't it be really funny if someone changed the Wikipedia article for Ancalagon the Black from Lord of the from the Silmarillion to like turn it into an SCP that was doing redacted with redacted and broke something? People were like, I was reading up about Ancalagon from like, Middle Earth and that, and He was. I don't remember the part of the Silmarillion where he was like in bed with, you know, redacted. But bring, 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 bring. More human than a human, more human than a human, more human than a human, more human than a human. SCP seems like a concept which kills people, but really an idea for a time machine. Oh, my final idea of the night, an SCP based on XKCD's time travel issue. I don't know what that is, so I can't like elaborate on that. There is a big birthing prophecy in the SCP. I think it's called the Crimson King, or the Scarlet King, or something like that. Where he has 7 women become, like, miraculously pregnant at the same time. And all 7 of them will be pregnant for like many years. Like they will be pregnant for years. And each one is said to be carrying the rebirth of the Crimson King. But all but one of them will die during childbirth because the rest are like part of the ritual sacrifice to give him power or whatever. And so the last one will give birth to the Crimson King, and then the Crimson King will, like, you know, rule over the world, or blah blah blah, Satan-y type thing. But there's an elaboration on that story where there is a big world-ending demon of sorts in like a parallel universe or underground somewhere or something. I can't remember exactly, but the idea is each one of the pregnant women, once they give birth, breaks one of 7 chains holding this demon in place. And the SCP Foundation are actually prolonging these women's pregnancies through artificial means in a bid to bide time to figure out how to deal with this demon once it wakes up. And like the women, that they just like live at the SCP Foundation, but they can't leave and stuff. And like SCP-1, there's like lots of iterations. There's 7 like officially written versions of it, but one of them that I like is that like SCP-1 is show the demon the picture as a shy guy. Well, that's what some people have suggested is like I'll get to that in a second before I forget, but like one version of SCP-1 is that he's like this giant flaming, like 70 foot tall flaming humanoid holding a sword standing by a gate. and anyone that gets near him, he kills. And like people want to know what's past the gate, and so like some of the stories are like they ask him, they're like, "Hey, can you kill this demon guy for us so he doesn't end the world?" And he's like, "Why do I give a shit? The world can end. I'm still gonna be here." But yeah, like there's been proposals of like what if SCPs meet, right? Like what would happen, and that's why there is no canon in the SCP universe, because there are going to be contradictions for things that can't be explained without breaking like the fundamental idea of what some of these are. Like there is an SCP which is just called the Unkillable Lizard. No matter what they do to it, you know, evaporate it into particles, it will eventually reform. And this lizard hates humanity with a passion. Like, it does. There's no explanation as to why it hates humanity, but it will do nothing other than. That was my nickname in high school, the Unkillable Lizard. Like, it will do nothing but try to end humanity. And so the only way that the SCP Foundation contains it is by keeping it submerged in a tank of acid. So it's in a perpetual state of melting and reforming. And one might say, well, that's a pretty good reason to hate humanity. But, you know, if he's an unkillable lizard, what happens if you show the Unkillable Lizard a picture of the Shy Guy? You have the, what is it? The immovable force meets the something force meets the immovable object. That thing, right? Like you've got one thing that can't be stopped until it kills its prey, and another thing that can't die. An unstoppable force meets an immovable object. Yeah, that. You know, you've got like a contradiction, or does the Shy Guy just get hard stuck killing the does the Shy Guy get hard stuck killing the lizard for eternity? Or does the fact that the lizard being impossible to kill mean that it could actually put up a fight against the Shy Guy? And would he do enough damage to kill the Shy Guy? Because it's not confirmed whether or not the Shy Guy is immortal, though he has been shot, and they have had jet fighters launch missiles at him, and it's not even like slowed it down or stopped him in any way. I think, like, generally, the sort of containment thing for it is that, like, he's in this massively thick metal prison cube, right? Like, he's just in this massively thick cube, and, you know, there's, like, no CCTV, you can't observe it directly, so it's almost a bit like a Schrodinger's Shy Guy. There's probably more to it I'm missing, but long and short of it. Really finicky. I just want a Shy Guy. Try Tinder. Shy Guy pajamas. Is Shy Guy the name of a character from like Mario, right? It's the little guy in the red hood who wears a mask or something. I think I played as him in like Mario Kart before with like at a friend's house or something. No, this is annoying. There you go. Like the default playable character in America. Is he the default character? I know, it's just a little guy and like he wears like a red hood and he has like a white mask or something. I thought he was called Shy Guy, right? Wait, before I did the... Oh, Tailpon. Wow. Oh, really? Yeah, that's... Oh, that explains why I kept losing. Blah. I think I'm nearly done. Has anyone here ever had like a paranormal experience or just something that they couldn't explain? Someone agreed to marry me, I'll never explain that. Oh, I can.
Yours.
That's... Who the fuck? The fuck was that? Did you just hear that? Did anyone else just hear that?
Your super shotgun is nearby. A relic from your past.
Oh, it was that.
Priests have kept it hidden from you in this remote location.
Weird. It started then stopped. And so I just heard like a male voice go, "You're." Well, because the reason I ask about like paranormal experience, right, is I was watching this video yesterday where it was like stories of like people that are convinced that they saw dead people, right? So I try my best to TLDR the whole thing, but basically this woman suggested her husband like go away on a fishing trip with like some friends or whatever, because he had been working as an exterminator for like 2 years straight, right? Like, this is a real story, at least, you know, the reality part of it is a real thing, whether the woman's testimony as to what she claims to have seen is up for debate, right? But basically, she was like, "Yeah, you've been working 2 years straight. You should go enjoy yourself. You know, grab your friends, go for go fishing for a few days, right?" And the fishing cabin that he went to was 7 hours away, right? And it was a long weekend, so he was gonna be there over the weekend plus like the Friday before. And oh, there it is. And she was pretty happy like he was gone, not for any bad reason. You know, they were in a loving marriage, but she was like, you know what, this will be good for me too. I get like some time for myself. And she wasn't a particularly anxious woman by any means, right? Like wasn't one to like easily startle or panic or be afraid to be alone, right? But on one of the days, it was like the Saturday night, right? So by all knowledge, he would still be, you know, he's still going to be at the fishing trip and not anywhere else, right? Now, she, in the evening, at around 10:30, she just sits down on her couch to read a book. And she's reading this book, and she just gets this sudden, overwhelming achievement. No, she gets this sudden, overwhelming feeling of anxiety, right? And oh, let me turn this down a little bit, because it's like probably killing the mood a bit. Yeah, so this like feeling of anxiety, and it's not like her to have this kind of feeling. She's, you know, it kind of scared her, like, why am I feeling this way? And she kind of put it down to like, well, you know, it's been 2 straight years of my husband never taking a day off, and you know, neither of us have gone on like vacations apart from each other, so you know, maybe I'm just anxious that he's gone, and like I'm not used to being alone. And so she was like, that's probably what it is. But like she kept feeling this, you know, feeling of anxiety, and so is there a thing here? So she you know, was alone in the house. You know, all the lights are off and all that stuff. So she's like, I'm just gonna go check all the windows and doors. You know, I'm just gonna check everything's locked, and I'm gonna walk around the house and just, you know, just make sure nothing's out of place or weird. And so she goes around and you know, all the windows are shut, all the doors locked, all that stuff. And so she's like, okay, you know, it's just, you know, I miss him, but you know, let's just shake this anxiety and go to bed, right? So around like midnight, she goes to bed. She's feeling a little bit anxious, but thinks to herself, like, you know, once I settle down and once I start to feel like tired, and you know, the sleep will take me, and I'll be fine tomorrow. She wakes up in the middle of the night, in a cold sweat. Like, she is just drenched in sweat. She's hyperventilating. She's panicking. She's freaking out. And she's like, "What is happening? Why am I like this? I've got no reason to feel like this. What is going on?" Achievement. And so she thinks to herself, like, it's freaking me out too much. I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna check the house again. So as she gets up and out of her room, you know, she like puts her dressing gown on and you know, she goes out to check. She gets startled by a figure standing in the hallway, and she's obviously freaked out and she shouts, "Who are you?" And this figure looks like they're soaked in water, like they're just soaking wet, and they're like holding their stomach, and the figure just calls out and says, "I have to go back soon." And she's confused and like, but it also seems like the person's, you know, in trouble, like they're hurt or something, and so like kind of instinct takes over, and she sort of moves towards the person and as she gets closer, she realizes that it's her husband, who's must have come home. But what she also realizes is it's not water that he's covered in, it's blood. He's like drenched in blood and holding his stomach. And as she realizes her husband, like, she just instinctually, she just reaches out to hold him, to hug him, because, like, you know, she's like, basically like, "What are you doing here? You're hurt. My husband's hurt. Like, this person I love is in danger, and I'm very confused." But you know, instinct takes over, and you reach out and you try to hug the person and hold them. But like he snaps at her and says, "You can't touch me. I can't bring you back." And she's like, "Bring me back where? What are you talking about? Like, you're supposed to be 7 hours away. You're supposed to be fishing. Like, what is going on? Like, what are you doing here?" And he doesn't answer her, but like, just, you know, continues kind of like wheezing out this sort of you know, pained breathing, and she kind of like, you know, reality like clicks in for a second, and she's like, I need to call the doctor, right? I need to call an ambulance, because this, you know, like, you're in pain. So she rushes past him to grab the phone, like the home phone that's on the wall, and right before she picks it up, the phone rings. And so she just grabs it and she's just like, "Hello, who is this?" in a panic, and the voice on the phone says, you know, Miss, I can't remember her name, but it's like, you know, Mrs. Smith. wife of Mr. Smith, you know, she's like, yes, why are you calling? And he says, I have some terrible news. You know, basically, what he said, you know, he says, I'm the sheriff of such and such town in the state, and he says, I've got some really bad news. Your husband was in a car accident and was pronounced dead at the scene. This happened not long ago. You know, but we you know, we're still working on figuring out what happened, but you know, I'm sorry I have to break this news to you. And she's like, no, he's not. He's right here. And she turns around. Husband's gone. Just disappeared. Not there anymore. And he's like, ma'am, I'm sorry, we've confirmed the identity of the body. You know, I understand it's very late at night. If there's anyone that you can call that you think should be with you right now, you know, I suggest maybe don't be alone. But we will, we'll call you tomorrow, and you know, basically like, you know, figure out from there, right? And you know, like it was just her husband really did die in a car accident, and you know, she buried him like a week later. She had the funeral, and you know, but still to this day she swears that her husband was with her in the house. And that's kind of the story. That's basically it. I have a theory about what may have actually happened. Because I personally don't believe in ghosts in the traditional sense of the word. I don't think people's, you know, deceased spirits are leaving their body and visiting you, kind of thing. I personally don't believe in that. What I think might have happened, what gun Knight has, please? Reaper chainsaw blade. Battle cannon. Chest heavy stubber. I think that's it. Knight paladin, yeah. And then like I think these are rockets on the back. Yeah, so like my theory for what happened, if I'm gonna try and like ground it in reality, is she got the phone call that woke her up, right? She went to sleep. She might have been feeling a bit anxious for whatever reason. There's certainly some cases out there where people have like had weird feelings, and then they've like called someone up and been like, "Hey, I just want to talk to you because I've got this really weird feeling, and you were on my mind." And it's like, "Oh, hey, like my house is on fire," you know, like sort of thing. But I think she went to sleep, and then I think she got woken up by a phone call from the sheriff, and I think the sudden shock of being told that her husband was dead, when she could have very well still been like half asleep. She might have then gotten off the phone kind of in a haze of shock and barely lucid consciousness of just being woken up, just got back in bed and fell asleep, and then had a nightmare about it. And then so she's had the nightmare that her husband visited her and stuff, because it's obviously going to be very prevalent and heavy on her mind. But because she's not fully conscious and fully with it, plus the sudden shock of the situation and the news that she was given, if she went back to sleep, her mind is still going to be active. Her mind's still going to be racing with this information, and is going to try to unconsciously, right? Like she's asleep, her mind is going to be trying to make sense of it. And you know what dreams are like? They go crazy. Dreams don't require reality. And I think, yeah, the whole seeing her husband's body bloodied, the conversation, him talking to her, visiting her, whatever you want to call it, I think that was maybe a dream. And as she's woken up again during the night, or even just in the morning, her brain has already told her this is what happened. This is the reality of what happened. And, you know, when your brain is like, yeah, this is what happened, then that's what you believe the truth to be. And it's no, like, assumption that the brain fills in gaps and to finish a memory. The brain does that all the time. The brain will sometimes, if it can't remember something specific about a memory, it will just make shit up, and you'll believe that it's true, even though the brain was just like, and this happened. You know, most ghosts can be explained by shock, nightmares, and hallucinations. Yeah, I mean, I remember, like, I was a kid, and I came downstairs in middle of the night, and I thought I saw like a really tall alien at the back door, and the back door was open, because I saw the back door was open, and my kid brain was like, why is back door open late at night? And, you know, instead of thinking that it could be a potential intruder. And that's still like a weird fear in the back of my head of like, what if it was an intruder? And the tall alien was actually just a person. But as we know about memories, every time our brains try to recall a memory, because we forget pieces of it over time, our brain fills in the gap with something made up, to a point that, in theory, a memory can be entirely fictitiously invented by your brain, because it has slowly replaced all actual memory with filler. Just a scary thought. How much of what you remember actually is real? Did you watch Signs before going to bed? No? No. No, I remember Signs because I watched Signs and I fell asleep on the sofa, and I remember like that night as well, like, because we all watched it, and my sister was like too scared to like sleep in her room, so she ended up staying in my mum's room, and I had just fallen asleep on the sofa. Also, I swear, deja vu. I swear we've had this conversation as well, Con, right? I swear I've like talked about it before or something, and you've said that. I'm having a deja vu moment now as well. It's funny how like easily people. Dude, the fact that you did that emote and like my initial thought for a second was like Izo would just said something. I'm attributing that emote to Izo. Because it's the only shrug emote. It's the only shrug emote I have? That's not Izo. I know it's not Izo, she just uses it a lot. And so like I've started to attribute it to her. Oh, see, I got more. Yeah, because I remember, like, I got so scared about this alien in my doorway. I was gonna say in my back door. That's not what I meant. Oi, oi. I got so scared that I was like, actually, I can't remember how old I was, but I was, like my dad had passed, so I was at least 11. But like, I got so scared, I was like, I was like shouting for my mother, come out, because a part of me was like, I know this isn't real, but I'm too afraid to confirm that it's not. In my head, I was like, this ain't real, but I also don't want to go near it. So she came out. She's like, "What are you screaming about?" And then I said, like, "Can you close the back door?" And she was like, she, in her haze was like, "It is locked," because she thought I meant like the back door's unlocked. In which case she's like, "Why are you screaming about the back door being unlocked? Why didn't you just lock it?" But yeah. Film Mars Attacks gave me nightmares as a kid. The aliens? They're pretty freaky looking. Do you know, I think the only movie that ever gave me like a nightmare, like a directly can blame the movie for the nightmare of all movies, I think was actually Wrong Turn. I was creeped out by the character Three Fingers, and I think Wrong Turn might have been one of the first like quote unquote like gore porn movies that I saw, because it's like Saw, Hostel, where it's just like blood and guts and gore for the sake of grossing you out. I feel like the first Wrong Turn movie wasn't too much like that, but it was definitely like the first like really gory movie that I watched. And so I think it like kind of like freaked me out a bit. And I had a dream. It wasn't a nightmare. I wasn't like panicking and scared in the dream or whatever. But I did have a dream. I watched it because of Elijah Dushku. I did have a dream where I was in the Winchester in Shaun of the Dead. And and it was the scene where the zombies are surrounding the Winchester. You know, like that penultimate kind of scene. And me and like some friends were trapped in there with, you know, Sean and his buddies and stuff, and like they still played out the movie the same way, but in my dream, but in the dream we could only escape through a fireplace that was like this big stone concrete fireplace, and it was a fireplace that once you went inside it was like a super long tunnel that was like really small and cramped, and we had to like crawl through it. And so we had to like crawl through while like zombies were like breaking into the Winchester and stuff. And I don't remember ever being like really scared about it. Like I don't remember being freaked out by the dream. But that was another time a horror movie influenced my subconscious. Do you think I'm going to get this done in the next 45 minutes? Hmm. Oh god, this is annoying as heck. Oh, Con, I don't know if you were here for this question, but I'm going to propose it to you as well. What's your like go-to video game / TV and movie theory that is not confirmed, but you like subscribe to the idea of it? Example being that, like, you know, all the From Software games are connected, you know, or that one eyebrow lady from World of Warcraft is actually Alliance. You know, don't go deep on video games. Well, what about TV movies or something like that then? Like, you know how there's like things of like, in Inception, you can tell it's the real world because the dreidel stops moving, whatever, like, which I think actually got confirmed by the director, but that's besides the point, you know what I mean? Otherwise I won't enjoy them. That's fair enough. I think I derive enjoyment from overanalyzing them. Because if I overanalyze it and then not find like massive plot holes, then I'm like, well, this sucks. But if I can't find plot holes, and I only find things that leave me with more questions, I'm like, ooh, exciting. Like, the movie Seven, what was in the box? I've always assumed it was his wife's head. What's the other ones? Willy Wonka is actually a serial killer child murderer, and he based the Wonka factory is basically his like madhouse to kill children. This level is based off a diorama Hammer world. Yeah, we're on a Adeptus Mechanicus ship. Oh, that says. Mars 41 or something else. Because I think, if I remember, the whole DLC takes place in this room. You just do things on different areas. Like next level, gonna be a big, like a transport plane, some kind here. But like if you look over here, there's a Forge World with a big old skull on the front. There's just a big Forge World there. This is like a machine church thing, whatever they're called. The light set up on display. Oh, you mean kind of like with the little the ramparts around it and stuff, like these candles. Protocol. At the commencement of the sacred ritual, each young noble enters the room and occupies the restricted technology of their night house. Look deep into the parka. I've said that a bunch the last few streams, that I want to like just show you guys what I'm actually talking about, but it was a BBC show, so I can't show it on Twitch really, but there you go.
Vince?
Look deep into the parka. That's where I keep getting that from. And considering I haven't watched that show since I was like 17, 18 or something. Maybe more, I'm not entirely sure, but Forget how old I am. Wow. I'm spraying everything. Uh. Dude, music's kind of intense. This whole time it's been doing music and now it's intense. Well, I mean, like, isn't do music kind of chill in its own way though? You know? Like you can like just. I mean, what? You can't just chill and watch a Powerwash stream while listening to Doom music? Because, spoiler alert, you know. Oh, go. Doom is chill. Slaying Cerberus minions and Reapers like a god. Oh yeah, you just killing Reapers, huh? You've completed Mass Effect 3, right? Or no? I remember we said something yesterday or the day before, and you were like, "Been a while though." Okay. I said something on Discord, and you were like, now, I'll like I can't wait to see it or something. I can't remember what it was we were talking about. I was going to ask you about a Mass Effect theory, but it involves having to explain like the endings and stuff. Oh yeah, it was talking about like the idea for like what Mass Effect 4/5 could be, wasn't it? And then I was like, I was spoiler tagging stuff. God damn it. Said that I didn't want server stuff in the future. Ah, yeah. I think the idea of stuff like with Cerberus and the elusive man is like there's always a bigger fish. Yeet. Ah! Oh no, I'm getting EP. Not now. Not when I'm so not even close. Whoop. Nope. Give it a big general wishy-washy. Maybe I should get a knight. Get... Hold on, what's it called? Get Gazkul. Gazkul Thraka. That's cooler than just a knight. Yeah. And maybe you can do custom shit where like his armor parts look like they're from a knight. Knights aren't the one that are powered by a human, right? That's the huge ones. They're driven by humans. What's the giant, massive ones that are like... They have like a human, quote-unquote, pilot, but they're like strapped into like a tank. Titans? Yeah, the huge ones with the big, massive, like, fuck-off cannons. Yeah, Scout Titan. All right. Yeah, I was thinking. Oh, the War Master Titans. The ones that look like they got like a cathedral on their shoulders. Them ones. Warbringer. Probably. I saw a very like limited edition Titan that sold for like 20 something grand. I can't remember what it was though. It was like one of the most expensive 40K biddies ever sold. Yeah, I mean, there's so much to Warhammer, and it's so insane and crazy, and it's like, what giant robot are you talking about? Are you talking about the one with the one that's powered by a human floating in a vat of liquid, or are you talking about the one that has a giant cathedral on its shoulders? Both are equally insane. Warhound, Warbringer, Warlord. Yeah, I think when I looked it up, it had a thing. It goes on the Questorius, Warhound, Reaver, Warbringer, Warlord, Warmaster. According to that Wikipedia thing I just looked, or the wiki I just looked at. You cannot kill what you did not create. Now wish for this, now wish for that, and look behind and like the noise. I push my fingers. It's the old thing. All these stops here. For the pain. In the day. I'm not gonna make it. Burp, burp, burp. Is fuck. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are Is fuck. Yeah. The hell? Dude, there's so... I don't imagine trying to paint all this shit. Easy to paint. I mean, technically, yeah. But like, I know the shortcuts I took. No one else knows, but I know. Haunt my every waking moment. Dude, he's really having fun with that synthesizer. Oh, what? Damn it. Yep. Oh my god. It's when you think you're getting close. Okay. Try and get this gun done. Trying to get a Gundam? Huh? Oh, because there's a Gundam. I'm half asleep. Leave me alone. Go be full asleep. Got like 10 minutes to the end of the stream. I'm a survivor. Just saying. Oh, rip and tear. Yeah, they're the only thing they say in that game. Oh. Come on. Oh, it's so finicky. Yeah, damn it. Alright, there, Phantom. Dude, every time I like move around, there just seems to be more. Yeah. Oh my god. Right. I'm gonna finish off these last little touches a little later off stream.
You can't just shoot a hole into the surface of Mars.
Yeah, I can. Because they're annoying me, and I keep like dozing off a bit. I'll get the next sparkly key so I can get one shot by some chaos super weapon bullshit. And so I can go out there, immediately get caked in mud and covered in like orc guts. Yeah. Yeah, it was a chill day today. Probably be back on something like Mass Effect tomorrow. Ow. Yeah, lots to do. I know something's coming out on the 18th that I really want to play. So try and get something done by then. Isn't a ton of time, but yeah, thank you so much for watching, everybody. Kenshi, thank you for moderating. And I'll see you all tomorrow. Goodbye.